Radio.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Crypto Current. Your host here, Richard Carthon, and I got another special one for you. This will be the last segment leading up to the AGME conference. As the time of this recording goes live, will be right before the actual event takes place, Friday, October 28th, over at the Speakeasy downtown Austin. Looking forward to seeing you all there. So we have another speaker that's going to be there on the a really good conversation on the panel around DAOs. So we have Sam Padilla, who's one of the ATX DAO core contributors here in Austin. How are you doing today, Sam?
Doing great. Thank you so much. Super happy to be here. And the intro video, really cool. Really cool.
Thank you. No, I definitely appreciate that. First, before we dive into everything, I want to learn a little bit more about you. Can you give us some background on yourself?
Yeah, for sure. So my name is Sam. I am originally from Colombia. When I was relatively young, when I was 8 or 9, I moved to Brazil. I grew up in Brazil, so I grew up speaking Portuguese and Spanish. I was not a great student or anything, but I played tennis. So I played tennis for a super long time, and as a consequence, I ended up getting a scholarship to play for the university that I eventually ended up going to in Iowa. So I played tennis for them for a few years. I ended up dropping tennis eventually, but that allowed me to come here and play and study in the US. So I majored in computer science and graduated last year and joined Google right out of the gate. And I've been working with Google and doing crypto and doing Web3 at Google ever since. And also got really involved with crypto, not only crypto, but specifically ATX DAO last year. I joined as an official member at the beginning of this year and spent a lot of work ever since. But yeah, that's a 15,000 feet overview of my life trajectory, I guess.
No, that's great. And I think it's a really good background to show just how you were able to get into the space, be able to work in tech, be here in Austin, and then still be involved in the Web3 and crypto community. So you were one of the core contributors to the ATX DAO. First of all, for all those listening who are still unfamiliar with DAOs and trying to get more into it, what is it? And then why was one created specifically to Austin?
Yeah, good question. So a DAO is basically a decentralized autonomous organization, right? That's what a DAO stands for. And by the way, it's DAO is not DAO. So don't be a boomer saying DAO. I have a pet peeve people who say DAO. That aside, it's just basically an experiment in governance. It's a way to orchestrate a group of people around a specific goal and govern those shared resources in creative ways. So DAOs usually pull a bunch of money together from contributors, right? So usually it's either a token sale or NFTs or whatever. And then that money sits in a treasury, and then the entire community votes on how to use the treasury. If you think about it, it's very similar to the way that a co-op operates. The beauty of it, though, is that it is just it allows you to get really involved with governance design and governance decisions. And actually, that's one of the reasons why I'm so excited about DAOs as a concept, because my personal crypto thesis is that crypto changes everything. So crypto changes everything about peer-to-peer interactions. It changes everything about the financial system, and it changes everything about the governance system. And I think the way that we see the changes in the governance system reflecting is via DAOs. DAOs are that innovation in governance that we need to have crypto kind of achieve its promises. And it's just a fascinating area to explore what a decentralized organization can do and what are some of the things that you can achieve with this new type of social/business organization. No, specifically for Austin, I think we ATX DAO was born more with the focus of being a social DAO. And the idea was basically just a way to have the crypto communities of Austin get together, hang out, talk crypto, connect professionals, and see what happens, right? But I think slowly, and as the community started to grow, we all realized kind of the magnitude of what we were doing. And we realized that we were probably the first or one of the first DAOs out there to pioneer the concept of a local DAO. So there's a lot of DAOs out there that have created a DAO around a specific geographic area, but it's basically they start with the DAO and they go to the geographic area, right? So like there's City DAO, there's Cabin DAO here nearby Austin. So City DAO was like an experiment in city building in Wyoming. Cabin DAO is like an experiment on decentralized living near Austin, right? What we did was like we had a city, we had a community, we created a DAO around that community, and our mission became from trying to connect the crypto communities only. We expanded our mission and vision, and we're tackling the challenge of making Austin the crypto capital of the world. So how do we take the city that already has a lot of things going for it and make it even better via crypto? And how do we scale it so that for anything crypto in the world, Austin becomes a reference? And that's kind of what the ATX DAO mission is and what it became over time.
And it's cool that like you gave a good breakdown of all the different ways that DAOs can be utilized, and how with Austin being more, the ATX DAO being more social DAO, trying to integrate and have Austin be one, the crypto capital of the world. And with that, I know that as I've gone to a couple of different events at ATX DAO, you have a large blend of people from all kinds of backgrounds, from tech, healthcare, people who are heavily involved in the Web3 community, and just those who are just crypto curious. How have you seen the DAO evolve over the last year since, initially becoming a DAO?
Yeah, so as I was saying, I think like the mission kind of evolved from just connecting the crypto communities into more holistically making Austin the crypto capital of the world. And that specific mission of making Austin the crypto capital of the world translated into three main areas. Those three main areas being what you've seen, like the social aspect of it, but then we started also doing a lot of work with the Austin ecosystem in terms of like local artists, local businesses. So if you've been to one of the native meetups, you probably have seen like the mural that we helped spin up on the outside of Native. We have relationships with a lot of cool businesses in town and trying to like help them explore ways in which they can use crypto to improve their businesses. And then the last part, which is kind of like the one that I've been the most involved in and kind of like leading somehow, is the policy side. So helping the city and the state draft better crypto policy and advise them and become kind of a center of expertise for anything related to crypto and policy in Austin and in Texas. And not only for Austin, but we've also kind of like tried to expand this vision. So we've been working with people in several cities across the US, and we've talked to folks across the world about how do you replicate this model of a local DAO to different cities. So there's folks in Vancouver who are starting YVR DAO, which is a Vancouver City DAO. And they're also following a similar model, starting with social activities and then growing on to a few more areas that are relevant to their city. We're talking to folks in New York and in Tampa and like a bunch of other cities across the world that are trying similar things, and we're trying to build kind of like this network of local DAOs across the world. And I think that's a really interesting concept and has a lot of potential that it's cool to explore.
Oh, definitely. I think it's amazing that, Austin's DAO, ATX DAO is helping to lead the way for a lot of local communities that are trying to spin this up. And y'all are also advocating for, the three different areas. And one of the big ones is policy. As we get more regulation into this Web3 space, the easier it is for more organizations and businesses to want to come and interact in this space, as it's clearer rules that they can engage with. Plus, by y'all making a model, you can continue to expand to other cities, just like you said. So for someone who's listening to this, who's locally in Austin, or if not, internationally, and they want to try to create something like this where they are, how can they connect with you and people in ATX DAO?
Yeah, so I think the easiest way would be to reach out to us on Twitter. So just at ATX DAO. We have a channel. We have a Discord channel where we're trying to get all the builders of local DAOs together to just think, share experiences, and like get the synergy going. So we're calling it the local DAO network or the local DAO foundation. The whole idea is basically, like abstract this concept from Austin and also like from other cities and see what they're doing right, what we're doing right, and what sort of like blueprint we can build for anybody who's trying to join this network to do so. But like this is exciting, man, because if you think about it, there's a really big disconnect between the crypto world and the real world. There's a really big disconnect between what we do in crypto and I mean like I have some money in my MetaMask wallet. I can't go to a coffee shop and pay for my coffee in USDC. Not even Ethereum. It's like just in a stablecoin. And that's not gonna happen in the next, I don't know. I hope to be wrong, but maybe next 2 to 3 years, right? So if you think about it, that disconnect makes it so that crypto is just like meta, not necessarily metaverse as traditionally speaking metaverse, but like this meta thing that lives on the internet and doesn't really spread out to the real world. The cool thing about local DAOs is that as opposed to an an online first IRL second model, we follow an IRL first online second model. So most communities that have formed in crypto, they started on the internet, and then maybe sometimes via a conference or when the community gets big enough, they do like, oh yeah, let's meet up. Let's do like this actual meetup here in Austin or at Consensus or at Permissionless, whatever conference is going on. What we are proposing is a different model in which the community starts locally first and then grows onto the internet. So if you think about it, ATX DAO started in Austin, and then we are about Austin more so than we're about crypto even. There's a lot of folks even in Austin that like are really new into crypto, but they really care about Austin. They really care about the community. And that's kind of what unites us all. And then from there, we go onto the internet and we actually try to spread this model online. But it's powerful because the fact that we are more about the community and more about the city than we are about the crypto itself makes it so that we become like the links in the outer part of the network that are actually getting people to onboard onto crypto. So a lot of the people who've never heard of crypto, never seen crypto before, hear about it because of the stuff that we're doing, because of the mural that we're painting, or because of the events that we're throwing, or because of the policy work that we're doing. They're like, oh, this is interesting. Let me look a little bit deeper into it. So local DAOs become like that engine of onboarding. And I think that's just like a new way to look at how do you onboard people and how do you spread the ideas of crypto, not for the sake of crypto, but for the sake of the communities, which at the end of the day is what crypto is all about, right? How do you make a world, society a better place via this technology? And that's kind of like the challenge that local DAOs tackle, specifically focused to their communities.
And I think that's awesome, man. You're focusing on the in real life, truly building that community aspect and getting people to really dial in and care, and then go into internet and let it expand from there. So I think that's really awesome. I think ATX DAO has a really good model that's going to be replicated and going to be helped to kind of spread across the land. But, as we look to next week, as we get closer to AGME, what are things that you're looking forward to at the conference and being able to speak at your panel?
Yeah, so I've been on a few panels and I've heard to a few people on several conferences, and it's interesting that like panels usually tend to go one of two ways. So it's either a super basic panel where people just like repeat the same arguments that all of us already know, like Web 1, Web 2, Web 3, or the privacy stuff and like not your coins, not your crypto, whatever, like just like the things that we already know that have been around since like forever. What I'm really looking forward to, and I think this is going to happen at AGME because of the people that are going to be speaking, not only on my panel, but like some of the other panels broadly, is the big vision thinking, like the big bold ideas, like the non-conventional things. And I have a few when it comes to DAOs, specifically to local DAOs and specifically to this network that we're building. I think I have a few non-conventional ideas here, but I'm just excited to share those, right? I'm excited to like talk about big things, and I'm excited to share the big vision of what DAOs, both local DAOs or non-local DAOs, can eventually become.
Yeah, and I think you bring up a good point, and we were very thoughtful with who we put on each panel, so it wouldn't be mundane. It wouldn't be the cookie cutter, everyone singing each other's praises. I want people to come with their own opinions, stand behind it, and let's talk about it, and also put up these new visions of where we're headed and how are we going to get through, where the current market is and sentiment, and how do we get past it, and how are we going to make it through all this. So I know I'm excited. I'm excited to go hear your panel. But finally, Sam, as we kind of wrap up here, what's the final thought that you want to leave with all the listeners today?
Yeah, so I think DAOs, for people who are trying to get involved into crypto for the first time, DAOs are a really good way to do so, and a really friendly ecosystem to do so, especially if you have the chance to be in Austin, or to be in a city that has a local DAO that is coming up and growing. Get involved with it, and just see what happens. It's like a really cool space to be in. That being said, though, I would say if you're gonna get involved in DAOs or if you're gonna get more involved in crypto, make sure that you like know the reasons why. I think there's a lot of people in the space that are, and I'm gonna probably be talking about this in my panel too, but I think there's a lot of people in the space who have gotten in not necessarily for the wrong reasons, but just like who don't really know why this matters and don't have a vision of where this can go, and don't have like a strong philosophical foundation of like why crypto matters and why crypto changes things. So make sure those core foundational ideas are right, because that's the only way they're going to keep building when things get tough. And that's the only way that we can make sure that like this technology is something actually good that actually brings a lot of good to society. So there's a lot of exciting stuff happening. There's a lot of exciting stuff coming both for ATX DAO as well as for the entire space. So come through and stick around.
Definitely. I think that's a great final thought. Come listen to Sam's panel that's coming up, as well as the rest of the speakers that are going to be there. Sam, again, thank you so much for your time. And of course, as always, for everyone listening, stay cryptocurrent.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of Cryptocurrent. Cryptocurrent is a cryptocurrency and blockchain education platform that's bridging the gap between the curious newcomers who are just discovering the space and the thought leaders who are shaping its future. All opinions expressed by Richard Carthon, the Cryptocurrent team, and their guests on this show are exclusively their own opinions. This show and any other Cryptocurrent production is exclusively for informational purposes.